Latin America has a religious makeup unlike any other place in the world because of its diverse religious history. This history goes back as far as the traditions of ancient Aztec and Mayan empires, through the influx of millions of African slaves, to becoming the most Catholic populated continent on the globe. More recently, Latin America has undergone large-scale movements of liberation theology within the Catholic Church and is now showing major trends of Pentecostalism and other types of Protestantism as well. This is no doubt a different place than where we live, a place not only of a different language but of a different mindset, each country with its own colloquialisms and traditions. For example, in the Southern Cone culture of Argentina and Uruguay, a kiss on the cheek is a common greeting. This part of culture is translated into church tradition when, especially in smaller congregations, they greet each other with a holy kiss before services begin on a Sunday morning. Everyone kisses everyone else, and services do not start until all the proper greetings have been given. This ties into another piece of Latin American culture, being task-oriented rather than time-oriented. The best example of this is the use of the word mañana. Literally, the word means tomorrow or morning, but when someone says that they will get something done mañana, it doesn't usually mean tomorrow, but rather, not today. During my time in Peru, I noticed quickly that in Latin American culture, when you set up an appointment with someone for a particular time, you're lucky if that person shows up within 30 minutes to an hour after the appointment is set. The fact that Christianity is on the rise in South America and other parts of the world, and is meanwhile plateaued or is even declining in North America, leads one to wonder what is happening there that isn't happening here. How is it that a largely nominally Catholic continent, mixed with ancient tradition and spiritualist syncretism, comes to be one of the leading centers of Christianity in our age? I personally believe that the answer lies in marginality. Deep Christianity thrives where it is not automatically assumed. It is a way of intentional commitment and decided discipleship. Being Christian by default can only take you so far. There are 5 things that the North American Church can do to deal with this shift to a globally Southern-based Christendom. First, we need to prepare for an influx of Latin American traditions over the next few decades by being more open and intentional with the representatives of this culture among us. This may include beginning or improving Hispanic ministries and developing deeper relationships with Hispanic church members, asking them what they think about church tradition. Secondly, the church would benefit from moving to less time-constrained gatherings, to make it more of a day dedicated to family rather than something to be sure you check off before you get back home to work. Next, I believe a re-examination of terms like evangelical and Pentecostal are due. Sometimes theological terms like these can carry a lot of baggage that doesn't make it through translation to Spanish and Portuguese. Also, North American Christians would benefit from a deeper education of liberation theology and other Latin American theologies. Some of these are understandable when you know South and Central America's social and political histories, even though they're not necessarily biblically sound. We need to learn these things so that we are better educated for the conversations that will undoubtedly take place in the coming years. Lastly, North American Christianity needs to redirect its efforts to preserve the U.S. as a Christian nation by means of political agenda. Having the 10 Commandments on a courthouse and In God We Trust on our money will never make us a Christian nation. Love, through extravagant hospitality, and love for enemies will. That is what it takes to be a people of God instead of a nation of default Christians. And as we can tell from the rest of the world, marginal Christianity is not the worst thing that can happen. Many of these prescriptions would help Christianity in North America prepare for the coming and present global changes, not only from Latin America, but from Asia and Africa as well. Undoubtedly, the world around us is changing. The best thing we can do to prepare is to be ready and open to the conversations and leadership globalization will bring.